Well, good morning, DCL podcast fans. It's an early morning for me at the Cove. Christy's a little bit later for you, but you just got back from running.
I did. Yeah, I realized I'm a little behind, I feel like, in my 10K training. So time
Is it
to actually start doing it.
is it wine and dine that you're doing?
No. So I'm
No.
not that behind. But
Okay.
I haven't run more than 3 miles in quite some time. So I've got to work my way up to 6. It's going to take a minute.
Yeah, but you're killing it. I love it. I love seeing Steve from Tampa is out running this morning too, and it's gonna be a cross training day for me. I'm gonna go do some swimming. So,
Good
but
for
I
you.
need to get on that schedule too for the half marathon for marathon weekend. So looking forward to that. Well, we put together a quick little special coffee at the Cove because Disney Cruise Line yesterday announced their early 2023 cruise release. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, I thought, we got this Coffee at the Cove show, which is kind of random. People that have never been on Disney Cruise. What exactly is the Cove, Christy?
I feel like you should be answering this. You're the one who loves the Cove, but it's the coffee bar on Disney Cruise Line. So you can go and get your specialty coffees. Chris likes to get his cold brew from there. And for all of those that don't like to drink the included coffee, they can have very tasty coffee at the Cove.
Yeah, and in the evenings they serve drinks and wine and everything like that. I find that wine that they have up there is generally a little bit cheaper.
That's great. But they serve, I mean, the bar's there all day. So if
That's
somebody
true.
wants a beverage anytime you're on vacation, you can go ahead and do that as well.
That's true. And it's located up on the pool deck and all the different ships. And I think that's one of our favorite parts too. It's kind of themed. They've redone it. I think the first time we went into it, it was like these big soft chairs and everything like that. And they've kind of rethemed it to, I don't want to say Starbucks, but more like they claim to be like your local coffee shop. But what I love about it is you can walk outside and you've got the sea right there. You can listen to the waves as the ship's going through the night or the morning. It's a great place to get up, have some coffee, and read your book in the morning. It's usually kind of quiet up there in the adult area. So, yeah, kind of one of our special places on board. And they used to have a second story until the concierge people took it over on. Was it the Wonder or the Magic? I can't remember now.
The Wonder.
The Wonder.
It may have been the Magic too. I haven't been back on the Magic since they received a concierge lounge.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's jump into it. Disney Cruise Line yesterday announced their early 2023 sailings with booking windows opening quickly. And is it just me, Christy, or does it seem like these booking windows are getting shorter?
Yeah. So less notice for travel professionals and travelers alike to plan for booking. So, I've had to reroute some of my schedule and rearrange a bit because I knew I would be booking now at between 7 and 8 a.m. on each of these release mornings.
Yeah, today's October 13th. They announced their sailings on October 12th, and the first people that can book is tomorrow, October 14th. I
Tomorrow!
know, Thursday. So not a lot of time to go ahead.
And since the Wish was the first release that didn't start the booking on a Monday, at
Right.
least in a long time, first in a long time. So it didn't even, Steve, when I first reposted, like you posted to Facebook for the DCL podcast, and then I shared it to my Packer Pixie Dust page, and then we shared it to Instagram. I didn't really pay attention to the dates. I don't even know when it was I first looked at the dates and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to like be prepared for tomorrow.
So you've got to drop everything to help your clients.
Yes. So we just, it's fine. It's fine, of course. But it just means everybody has to plan. We always say, and maybe this is something we'd throw in the end, but you want to try to book that first day that you are able to, if you can, to get the most availability and the cheapest rates. And unless you're booking concierge, your cabin is totally refundable. So not that you just want to book things to then cancel, but if there is still that, well, are we for sure able to go then? We don't know. We can put down a deposit and then see. And if you have the Disney Visa, if you put the deposit on there, you can pay it off in 6 months because these cruises are in 2023. So if you don't want to put down all of the money for your cruise that's in 15 months, you can actually, have at least 6 months to help pay off that deposit, which I really like sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to your point, we booked a fall cruise in 2022, and now we're not going to do that one. Taking a look at it, it's just too many things going on in 2022. So we're going to take that money, move it forward to hopefully do a spring break cruise in 2023. So um, that's kind of our plans with that. Well, these bookings,
Let me
it,
give you
it,
a piece of advice on that really quick. If you don't
sure,
mind, Steve, I'm going to interrupt
yeah,
because unless you had that booked with a placeholder, I would almost suggest booking a new cruise, canceling so that you can book online. Your travel agent can book online. Whoever's booking for you can book online. Then cancel that cruise and just have the money go back on your credit card because it is quicker and easier to book online with a person's Castaway Club number on those release mornings than trying to get through to Disney Cruise Line, which is what you would have to do to move money from a booking to another cruise. So that might be something to consider.
no, that's a really good point there. And while we're on it, why don't you just talk about the placeholders because we're actually going to be hopefully as we pass our fail our COVID test on Friday on the Wonder, could it's early. That's why they're
It's the
wearing
only time
hats.
you want to fail.
Yeah, sorry. There's two different things going on there. Sorry about that. Yeah, the only thing you want to fail is your COVID test. And so we're going to try and get that onboard booking credit on Friday and then book our cruise Friday when the gold as a gold castaway member, we can do that. How does the onboard booking credits work, Christy? Can you talk people through that who are going to be sailing soon as far as purchasing that on board and using that for a cruise in the future?
Yeah, so right now you are purchasing it through your Disney Cruise Line app. There's actually a place right there to just book a placeholder. And my understanding is that they do not have booking individuals on these cruises right now. And so everything is being done by shoreside. So you book it through the app. One of our listeners, Brian, was recently on a cruise. He was a client of mine. Thank you, Brian, for supporting the podcast and my business. But he booked the placeholder and I received the email while he's still on the ship, even though he booked it while on the ship. You just put it right in that you want a placeholder and then it goes right to your travel agent.
And what does that placeholder get you?
It gets you 10% off your future cruise. And I believe it's a reduced deposit, right?
That part I don't know just because I haven't been on there. So
We'll
I will
look. Somebody can correct us. But I think you pay less for your deposit as well. But either way, the 10% off is huge. The only thing is that when those placeholders get booked, you have to call it in. Not a big deal. It's just something that has to occur.
Right. Okay. Well, sorry, I was laughing.
Oh, the placeholder is $250 too.
$250, right? So if you get that placeholder, $250 put into it and plus 10% off on opening day prices is probably the best that you're going to get. So I was laughing because Liz says it's so early. Good morning. And then Doug says it's early. That's why they're both wearing hats. And I kind of laughed when Christy popped up and had her hat on. And then I've got mine too. So
it's the hat club today. This is what you get from us.
It is. Join a DVC and a little DCL representing here. All right, let's jump into the 2023 bookings. Nothing too. DVC.
Let me just point out this hat really quick. This is the hat that if you are a Disney Vacation Club owner and you are on a cruise that they give out right now. So they're giving this out. It's included. So when do you get free merch? And it's like a quality hat. It's got this little guy at the side, Mickey here. So I don't know. I love it. So stop by the desk. They have weird hours. So make sure you look into that. Okay.
Doug says, I think it's reduced deposit on a 7-night and longer only cruise.
Okay, there. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. All right. So these cruises don't tend to necessarily be overly exciting. I'm of the summer. I love seeing where they're going to go in the summer. Why is that, Christy?
Well, because these cruises are for getting people out of the cold, essentially. So for those that need to get out of the dreary locations, that don't have the luxury of being in sunny Florida, we're getting you out of there. But frankly, even if you're in Florida, you want to be in a little bit of a warmer location in the winter sometimes. And so this helps you to do that. But they're typically going to be a standard rotation. So nothing too exciting. There's a couple of itineraries to note that we'll get to in a couple minutes, but pretty standard.
Okay. I'll start with the first part. I'll do number two. You can do three and start with the wish. But the home ports for this round of sailing, roughly January 2023 until the end of May 2023. Although, as you'll see, uh, there is several that end in April, and there's one that's just missing for most of it. But most of the the ports that the ships are going to be sailing out of is out of Miami and Port Canaveral, Florida, New Orleans, Louisiana, Galveston, Texas, and San Diego, California. Disney Cruise Line will be sailing to Mexico, East and West Coast destinations, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and several familiar ports throughout the Caribbean, Tortola, St. Thomas, Grand Cayman, Falmouth, Jamaica, and there's 2 sailings that stop in San Juan, Puerto Rico as well. Christy, why don't you start it off with the newest ship to the fleet?
The newest ship will be, obviously, we know, the Disney Wish. She will continue her 3 and 4 night sailings out of Port Canaveral with Friday and Monday departures. So just like the normal, like the schedule the Dream follows, she's that's what point number 2 is in here. She's taking over the Dream's old itineraries. So allowing more people to experience all the new things she has to offer while visiting Walt Disney World in Central Florida, if that's something that you want to do to extend your trip. Date ranges from January 6th to May 29th.
So if you want to get on the Wish, I think that we haven't seen totally the prices. They put some prices on some sample prices, and how do they look, Chrissy?
I mean, they're creeping up. So here's the thing with 2023. In theory, the idea is that everything will be back to normal, right? Like we've been saying this for forever, that we think by this date it'll be back to normal. Everything is pushed. But the theory is that people have vacation money to burn, that they want to get out there. They're going to be booking. They want the normal sailing. And so Disney is going to capitalize on that.
Exactly. So if you want to get on the Wish, I think looking at those first prices, it doesn't look too crazy.
It's not the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, and I am so grateful. So when Disney released the Wish for the first time, they put in the sample pricing, which is the lowest category pricing for 2 people in a cabin. This gives you an idea of where it's at, which is so helpful to both you, the person looking for the travel agent who needs to look up prices. This is just so great for everybody. So you can kind of get an idea and just throw in, $1,000 per kid or whatever, depending on how long the cruise is, to get an idea of what your family would cost to take that cruise.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the Disney Magic, the first ship of the fleet. The Disney Magic is going to transition from Miami in early 2023 to Galveston. And then from there, she's going to move on to New Orleans instead of the Wonder. So she's going to be sailing 4, 5, 6, and 7 night sailings from Galveston with a mixture of stops around the Western Caribbean. And then when she transitions over to New Orleans, you're going to be looking at 4, 5, and 6 night sailings, again with stops in the Western Caribbean. We're not going to go through each and every one of these stops or every one of these cruises because there's just too many to go through. Most of her sailings are to Mexican ports with a few stops at Grand Cayman as well. One thing to note that none of the Magic sailings are going to stop at Castaway Cay. And this, I mean, just common, but common sense tells you this is most likely due to Castaway Cay being taken up by the Wish, the Dream, and the Fantasy. There's just not enough room. And that's why they really need to explore the idea of trying to get Eleuthera online. A lot of angles to that still, and we'll continue to follow that. But that one thing to note, if you're thinking about booking one of the sailings on the Magic and you want to go to Castaway Cay, none of them stop at Castaway Cay. The Magic does not have any sail dates beyond April 1st, 2023. So speculation, there's 2 speculation parts we're going to talk about today. There's one, is she going to return to Europe early and possibly either do some early Mediterranean sailings, or the Disney staycations over in England were really popular this last August. And I think they did a really good job at that. And so, that's a possibility, I guess, too, that maybe she could do that. I know that with our friends at Towers, I think that's the right time frame in May where the kids in England are out of school. So maybe look for that. That could be a possibility, but we'll wait and see, won't we, Christy? Yep, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So
go ahead.
Next is the Wonder.
Speculation number 2.
Speculation number 2. So she has a large hole in her schedule from January 2023 until March of 2023. And it wasn't until one of our Patreons and our Patreon group pointed out that I even initially noticed it. I was very busy yesterday, but I had assumed the Wonder was going to New Orleans because that's who's usually there. And so, big shock. So we'll have to see where she's going. But beginning April 2nd through May 11th, the Wonder will begin a mixture of Baja and Mexican Riviera sailings from the port of San Diego. The stops will include Ensenada, Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. After May 11th, there'll be plenty of time for her to possibly return to Hawaii before transitioning to her usual summer sailings in Alaska.
So the Wonder heading back to, or has a huge hole after January until March of 2023, where we don't know what's going to happen to her. That's a long time for a dry dock scenario. And I did a little research, and this is my speculation. This is total speculation now. And if I'm right, then I'm going to go to Vegas. But the best time to sail in Australia is that time, October.
No, you don't think she's going there already?
October through April. So I don't know. I think I know there's a lot of speculation about what's that?
She could do a cruise or two there.
I know. I think there's a lot of speculation about her going to Asia, but I think as we've seen with NCL and with Royal Caribbean sending ships over there, they really retrofitted them out around the clientele over there and the guests, different foods and everything else. Sailing down in Australia, they really wouldn't have to do very much to the ships as far as that goes, other than adding some different foods to the menus down there for our friends in Australia. Australians love Disney, and I don't know. And it can be very cold in certain parts of Asia during that time frame as well. So, I don't know. That's my speculation. Do they take a chance? Do they do some kind of South Pacific and some few cruises down in Australia? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
The other idea, maybe she does that. She also should perhaps do some Southern Caribbean. Why is there no really good Southern Caribbean cruises during that time frame? It's the perfect time to go to the Southern Caribbean.
That's a good point too, where they could, move over to San Juan for a while and sail out of San Juan.
And do some longer cruises.
Right.
Even in general. So they don't have to be a 7-night cruise from San Juan. You can do a longer cruise and still leave from Miami if you wanted, or wherever. And aren't they working on a new port in Miami? So like an actual building, so that it looks a little bit more, it won't be quite, I'm sure, Port Canaveral, but more of a Disney, not just a label stuck up on the wall that says you're at Disney Cruise Line now.
Right. Yeah, they are looking at that. And Fort Lauderdale, I believe, too. Wasn't it Fort Lauderdale? Why am I totally thinking about that all of a sudden?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's too early in the morning. We have to get back to that. But I do think that, May 11th being her last sailing out of San Diego does open up the possibility to do 2 of those Hawaii trips as well. Transition up the coast, go to Hawaii and back like they did. Those were pretty popular. Those sold out pretty much in no time. And why not? Why not send the Wonder over to the Hawaiian Islands and around again? So, all right.
Doug just pointed out before we leave the Wonder that she doesn't have anything in November and December as well. You guys are good little sleuths.
Yeah, this is true. So stay tuned.
We need to get you guys on payroll.
Yeah.
We don't get paid, so there's no payroll.
Also, while we're at it, Disney needs to build a Castaway Cay in Mexico. Yeah, that would be nice. Let's move on to
a West Coast Castaway.
West Coast Castaway. I got you. I hear that now. Okay. Let's move on to the Disney Dream, the ship you just got off of. The Disney Dream is going to continue sailing out of Miami with a mixture of 4 and 5 night sailings throughout the Bahamas and Western Caribbean. April 10th features a 5-day sailing with 2 stops at Castaway Cay. That one is going to leave Miami. It's going to stop at Castaway Cay, then go to Nassau, the Bahamas, and then back to Castaway Cay. So it's not 2 days in a row. So they break it up with that stop in Nassau. So if you're looking if you're looking for a double dip, do you like that idea, Chrissy? Obviously, you just said it's perfect.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, you don't want your Castaway stops, in my opinion, to be 2 days in a row. Like, it's not an awful thing, right? But having that little bit of a break, do something different, then come back to your happy place. I love that.
All of the Dream sailings feature a stop at Castaway Cay. And Chrissy, what are your thoughts about sailing out of Miami? I did a little. We sailed out of Miami once on the Magic. It's roughly a 3.5 hour drive from Walt Disney World down to the Port of Miami. Be careful. Sometimes their traffic backs up on the freeway getting down there. So we went down there the night before and spent a night in the hotel before we left on the Magic, just to make sure we were down there on time. So just something to think about.
The airport is giant. So if somebody was just flying in or out of Miami, it's very close to the cruise port, which makes it convenient. Port Canaveral is a bit of a hike from the Orlando airport. So that is something to consider. This is close. They have flat fees on cabs. It's the one time I would suggest, if you're a family that fits in a cab, to take a cab. They even have minivan cabs, and it's like $25 or something. They tell you, because you're going from point A to point B, this is what we're charging you. I love that. The airport is huge and therefore insane. I mean, it is an insane airport. However, it means it's going to cover so many destinations to fly in and out of. And so it makes it kind of convenient.
That's true. We did the cab option from the port back to the Miami airport. And like you said, it was super easy. Walked off. There's tons of cabs there. You've got your price set already. Love that. Also, don't forget that you could also fly into Fort Lauderdale. I think it's a 45 minute ride.
Yep, it's about 45 minutes. There is a transfer company, SAS, that actually will transfer you for a flat rate of like $12 or $22, something like that, from Fort Lauderdale to Miami and back the other way. So that makes it super convenient if you were to fly into that port. But again, it's like you could fly into Fort Lauderdale depending on where your carrier stops. And it's essentially the same distance as going from Port Canaveral to MCO.
Okay. Lots of things for couples and families to do throughout the Miami area. I want to give a huge plug to Shannon Ford. You can go over to her YouTube channel. She lives down in Miami. She sailed out of the Port of Miami several times. I know she's got several videos up there of leaving from the Port of Miami. I think on maybe Royal, but if you want to go over to her YouTube channel and check it out, she's got some great videos to kind of prepare you for that as well. Let's move on to our final ship, Christy.
The Disney Fantasy, my favorite. The Disney Fantasy will remain in Port Canaveral, where she'll sail her normal schedule of 7-night Eastern and Western Caribbean sailings. I did notice, and that might be what's here, is that there was a couple of different itineraries. And I think that's what you have pointed out here, Steve, is that 2 of her sailings will feature stops in Puerto Rico instead of St. Thomas. Chris and Seth did one of these sailings and loved Puerto Rico. Check out their experiences during their Star Wars Day at Sea sailing in episode 140. So where you can always just search DCL Podcast episode 140 on your internet browser, and it will take you to our website, and you can play it from there. The 2 sailings feature Puerto Rico leave January 7th and March 18th, in case you are interested in those. The other new sailings with the Fantasy is an 8-night sailing where she makes her first stop in Bermuda. The sailing is this really her first stop? I guess it would be, right?
Yeah.
The sailing will feature 2 days at Kings Wharf, Bermuda, 2 days at sea, and a stop in Nassau and Castaway Cay. It departs March 15th. So it's a one-off. If you are interested in this, because it's something different, it will be a popular cruise to book.
I think, yeah, definitely. And that's one place that I would love to go, is Bermuda. I've heard, from the sailings on the Magic, where they went out of New York City down there and did the 2 days. And I know that Royal and Norwegian do those out of the Northeast as well, down to Bermuda. It's just a really popular place where they spend those 2 days. You've got your, cabin there, you got your place to stay, and then you can just spend 2 days just in, exploring the islands and everything that there is to do in Bermuda. So I would love to do that, but it just doesn't work for us in our spring break.
Right. Ours is the week before. So
is it really?
I think so.
So yours is at the beginning of March? Is that when Florida is?
That actually doesn't sound right. It might be that week.
Okay.
Wait. What day of the week is this?
I do not know.
So what's happening the week before? Dun, dun, dun.
You're going to have to look at that. All right. Well, while you're looking at that, let's talk about the booking window for these sailings. All bookings begin at 8 a.m. Eastern. So each day, the bookings are going to begin at 8 a.m. Eastern, and are available to book online. You can call Disney Cruise Line, or better yet, have your travel agent book it for you while you're asleep on the West Coast or enjoying your morning coffee on the East Coast. So, so just be aware of that, 8 a.m. And I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you a little secret. In the past, I've gotten up early just to see if you can get on there early. And probably maybe a year or two ago, you could get on early. Sometimes
So it was like
the
6
IT would open
o'clock,
up.
5:40, but
Yeah.
once the Wish came out, it was a firm 7:30.
Yeah.
So now tomorrow will be the first day. I will still get up at 6 to make sure that if it's open at, well, before 6. So if it's open at 6, I can start those bookings. Just a note, if you are able to, obviously after the years that travel agents have had, it's so nice to be able to support a small business and use a travel agent to do these bookings for you. Your travel agent should have a good plan in place. Like for me, if I have more than one booking to do on a particular day, I make my husband get up now and he has to make bookings with me because we want to make sure everybody gets the first opportunity to get the best cabins. We burn through them, we put the cabins on hold. There's a whole system in place. Make sure your and I'm sure your travel agent's going to do the exact same thing. So just, it's so nice though to be able to help a small business. It does not cost you more money, and Disney pays the travel agents, or they're going to keep it themselves and keep that money in their pocket. So it's not making your cruise cheaper by booking direct with Walt Disney or with Disney Cruise Line. So it's just something to keep in mind, and it really makes a big deal to the families that you're supporting when you use a travel agent.
Definitely. We use a local travel agent here that supports our community that we've loved using over the years. All right. Do you want to go over the booking when people can book, Christy, or do you want me to do it?
I would love you to do it.
Okay. So starting tomorrow, Platinum Castaway Club members and Golden Oak Club members can book starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. That's Thursday, October 14th, 2021. Gold Castaway Club members are up Friday, October 15th. And then there's a couple days off for Gold and Platinum members to book before Silver Castaway Club members, DVC, and Adventure Insiders. So those are people that have been on an Adventures by Disney vacation and have become an Adventures Insider. You have to actually gone on the vacation before you can book. They can all book Monday, October 18th. But as a note, Adventure Insiders and DVC members have separate lines to call. So other than if you're going to book it yourself.
Right. If you're booking direct through those, as a result of those means, otherwise your travel agent will still call you the regular number, but they need your DVC member number or your Adventure Insider number for them to be able to call. So I have one client who's going to be booking. She also, though, is a Silver Castaway Club member and a DVC. And we weren't sure, we were looking at the schedule to see where she fell. If it made sense for her to book under DVC, she would have. But because she's Silver Castaway, it's easier to log in as a Castaway Club member to book the cruise than to call in and do it the other way. So those phone lines definitely don't open before 8. And on the Silver day, it will fail. So your travel agent or you will be on hold for many, many hours. So just something to keep in mind. It's going to take a hot minute if you're booking on Monday. But if you have a Castaway Club number, it can be looked up. It can be booked online, which is, as long as the website's working, the way to do it.
Yeah, it's the fastest way.
One more point before we move on, if you don't mind. If you are using a travel agent, and if you're using a travel agent new to you, make sure they have your Castaway Club number and your date of birth. So both of those items are needed to access the online booking so that they can do that booking for you.
I'll get information there. Then general public bookings open for the general public who have not sailed on Thursday, October 21st. Before we go into final thoughts on this, I want to throw just something out. So to cruise now, you have to use Safe Passage, which is a separate company that where you will upload your vaccination card. For right now, everybody's required to be vaccinated. Also, are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing at your number 10 point. Your last point. I'm so sorry. I jumped ahead. Wait till you guys get to it. But okay. Steve's little notes, his final points of the cruise. But okay, Steve, I'm sorry.
All right. No. So anyways,
serious thought.
I just want to throw this out there. So we loaded up our stuff and the Safe Passage, and it kept saying pending. And I'm like, totally like
freaking out.
Close here, freaking out and everything like that. So yesterday, before I took off, if you go to the Safe Passage website, it says, hey, contact Safe Passage. You can email them. So I emailed them and I got a response back almost immediately, which is funny. It's from Reykjavik. So some of the people working that are, validifying your documents are over in Reykjavik, because it had a little Reykjavik thing. We just had that show in Iceland. I thought that was kind of cute. But I got a message back right away that said, "Hey, your wife's vaccination card is blurry. We need that. We need a new picture." And so she did that last night. And when I woke up this morning, we are now good to go to the port. So
Yay!
I'm not saying.
Why didn't they tell you that ahead of, like, they should have messaged you?
I don't know. Maybe they would have messaged us today or tomorrow, but if it's getting close to your sailing and it still shows pending and you think, and I will say this too, we had a hard time. And it may have just been our phones or how we had the card set, but every time we tried to take a picture of our vaccination cards, it came in blurry. So you've got an option.
I'm going to go with user error on that one.
Yeah. Well, the option is you can take a shot through their website, or you can take a shot on your camera and upload the JPEG file, right? Those are your two options. When we were trying to do the through their website, it always came up blurry. Anyways,
Okay.
my main point is, if you're getting close to the cruise, it still says pending. You might want to reach out to them. They were super helpful on it, and now we're good to go for Friday. And then we just need to fail that COVID test. All right. Final thoughts, Christy, about the early 2023 sailings.
I don't have any good final thoughts. It's a normal early winter sail drop, basically, except for I feel like the Wonder and the Wish, or the Wonder and the Magic, sort of flip-flopped where they were each going and doing, and obviously we don't know about what's really happening with the Wonder. I don't know. It's a little uninspiring, but that is the way it should be. The goal is to get out of colder weather and get to warmer weather.
And if people want to book with you, Christy, how can they get hold of you?
They can reach me at Christy@packyourpixiedust.com. That is my email. They can go to my website, packyourpixiedust.com, go to the About section, and it has my office phone number on there. It has my email address again on there. So it has ways to reach out to me so that you can find me if you don't remember my email address.
Perfect. And I guess to finish up, as always, if you need somebody to sail with you on any of these upcoming sailings, Chris and I are always available, but do know that we demand second seating and the top bunk. So
together? Are you going to cuddle?
Not together. Just kidding on that, anyway. But
let me point out that 8 night on the Fantasy, which is why it didn't make any sense, is departing April 15th, not March 15th.
I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. The notes just had the wrong date. And so that's why the date didn't quite make sense, because I was like, why is this cruise leaving on a Wednesday? What is happening to the Fantasy if that cruise is leaving on a Wednesday? It's fine, but it's departing April 15th, which is right after Easter. I think I looked that up. Easter is April 10th, which coincides. So if you have a spring break that coincides with Easter, so that you go on spring break after Easter, you can go on that double dip on the Dream, and I will be happy to book it for you. And just a reminder, it does help the podcast. So the podcast does receive a small amount of money as well for bookings that come through the podcast. So we do appreciate your support, so Steve can pay all the bills.
Definitely. Thank you so much for everybody who does book through Christy. We do appreciate that. I guess 2 other final thoughts before we get out of here. One, you can go over to Disney Cruise Line's website right now, and you can see all these sailings. And with, like Christy said, the lowest price for the lowest category in each one right now for 2 people. Also, I want to give a shout out to Scott Sanders. You can go over to Disney Cruise Line blog, always on opening day tomorrow. He'll have when people email in, and if you want to help him out, email in what you're seeing if you book something tomorrow, if you're a Platinum Castaway Club member or a Golden Oak resident, that can kind of help that out. That gives all the rest of us kind of an idea of how the pricing is kind of going. So with that, I think that's all we have today, Christy. And I think I'm starting to lose my voice.
So it seems like a perfect time to end.
It is a perfect time to end. Well, we'll have a show out later today. Thanks for everybody who was up early with us this morning. I want to give a shout out to Adam. How's it going, Adam? If you're still watching, cheers to you. We'll have a show out today talking about the first sailing of the Disney Wonder, and Brian from our Patreon groups experience on there. So excited to bring that out to you guys. But I guess as we get out of here, look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Good luck booking whatever cruises you and your family are looking to book. And we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.